Welcome to the third half presented by Gilbert Rugby Canada. I'm David Cameron Donaghy, here again with Amanda Mark.
Back again. You can't get rid of me.
How was your day today? It sounds like it was good.
It was really good. I have to say, it was warm. There was a lot of dust. I've got a nice dust tan going on. But most importantly was the rugby that was played today. So I did spend the day in the one venue. There were 7 games with the women's teams in the Amanda Mark Cup. So that was really good to watch them play and see how they progressed over the day and how the teams really came together because for some of these teams it's the first time they're playing as a team together.
Well, yeah, we just met this woman Jordan who's like over from DC, does plays for a non-IGR team, and signed up for to play at Bingham before even having a team to play with, and now she's with the Emerald Warriors.
I love that story. I love it. That was awesome. So that everyone's included. This is what this tournament is all about: inclusion, and everyone coming together and finding your tribe and
Yep.
hanging out. And I love the fact that all the teams are mingling, and there's the square over there where they're having some drinks and there's some dancing going on, and there's a bit of a showdown on the dance front. So it's all happening over
And
there.
free speedos.
And free speedos, because you got to have more speedos in the world.
I got my pair when I bought my hat.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
So that's really, really good.
It's a medium. I don't know how good that is.
Well, let's not. It depends. Yeah, no, but it's been good. So this morning the games were early at 8. It was still fresh and cool. Got really hot during the day, but I mean the level of play's been amazing, and the competition's been really tough. And it's just been really awesome to see the women's teams playing at this level in this tournament. So I'm really, really pleased. I'm really proud. I'm so excited for them. So especially because for some of them it's their first Bingham Cup experience.
Yep.
And to come here and to feel included and safe, and just to play some good rugby and meet some people in this glorious city of Rome. I mean, what's not to love about that?
Well, see, I heard a rumor that the namesake for the Amanda Mark Cup is actually not dead.
I have to say that was quite entertaining. For those out there, I was interviewed by an Italian journalist, and when they were doing the research on the Amanda Mark Cup and looking at who the tournament was named after and why, and they were surprised to discover that I was still alive. I am alive and kicking, and here I am. So that was really, really, really entertaining. But yeah, very, very funny. So
Now, with the matches today, which match actually really kind of resonated with you in the sense of which one where you were like, oh my God, like I can't take my eyes off the play?
yeah, well, there was. I watched all of them. It was a bit challenging when there was 2 games being played on alternate pitches, but so I would spend half the time over here and half the time over there, and some of them were really close, with no one team really dominating. So both teams playing really well, and then some of the others they were a little bit more one-sided, but they were all gripping. So I think the 2 games this morning were people just getting their rugby legs back, or because some of the teams they're not actually playing in their home countries at the moment. That
Yeah.
the season hasn't started, and for some of them they just came together and met this morning to play together. So finding out
That's wild.
how they all work together, and they really like the Flying Nuns, which is made up of several different IGR teams, really pulled together and pulled out some great moves and great rugby, and they really did a good job there. So I was quite impressed with how they, especially because they hadn't played together before. So
And they have a great name.
They do have a great name. They do really have a great name. But it's good to see they've got the sprinklers on the ground
I just noticed that.
tonight. So, because that was a bit of a dust bowl this morning, and yeah, I've got the dust tan to prove it.
And you were only on the side.
I was only on the sideline. Not if you were playing, it would have been worse. But yeah,
So who do you think is going to come? Where do you think the final is going to come down to in the Amanda Marr Cup?
Well, at the moment, that's a tough call. So all the teams have played 2 games each. So that's quite interesting. And some teams that played really well in their first game didn't play quite as well in their second game, but which I think is part of the tournament. So I think it's too early to tell, too early to call. I know the Ottawa Wolves, the defending champions, are really looking at how to bring their game. I noticed they were watching all the other games. They're on that. So they're looking at how they play and how they work together. So I think that it's going to be a really strong tournament, strong final. I'm very excited.
Well, Nashville really seemed to be putting it out.
They were putting it out, definitely. They were really, really strong this morning, but this afternoon they played a great game, but the Lowlanders were just too good this afternoon. So that was really great, and the Emerald Warriors had a really strong afternoon. So there's been a lot of surprises in the tournament, which is great. So that's what we're here for.
Now, what do you see coming out of this increased women's presence, especially with the Amanda Marr Cup? Do you think that it will start snowballing into more female clubs either joining IGR or just generating more interest in the sport for women? Like, there are probably a lot of women that think, well, I can never play rugby. That's a man's sport.
Yeah, and I think that rugby around the world is doing a much better job of including women, and I know that there's strong rugby tournaments, particularly in the sevens and the tens, women's rugby in lots of different countries around the world. And I think this is really the next part of that. So we've got a lot of sevens players, a lot of tens players here. And so, I think it's great that it's progressing. And I think, there's tournaments like, the Oceanic Cup, and, we've just had USA and Canada and Australia and New Zealand. So, it's been amazing that rugby's out there. So what would be fantastic if we could see more of that inclusive team. So we want more teams that are open to being inclusive and showing that they are inclusive and that they're not, that they're open to that. Because I think that really builds more community, more strength, and means the competition gets better because we've got more players, more things happening, and I think that's what I would love to see. So,
well, it's what we kind of touched on yesterday, where rugby players come in all shapes and sizes. Mm-hmm. So for it to be not inclusive is kind of
a nonsensical statement.
Yeah, pretty much. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Because it's like, I've seen some female rugby players that could just take me out with a blink, and it's like, I'm down.
Yeah. I mean, rugby has a place for everybody. This is the beauty of the sport. So you've played. Yeah. You've got tall, short, large, wide, quick, slow. It's all going. It all happens on the rugby pitch.
It really does. Do you think that the Amanda Marr Cup could actually spawn that interest?
Piece of silverware for the winner. So it's a trophy to be of trophies. So it's there's like lots of the opportunity to compete in an organized competition or tournament of this standard that we're seeing at Bingham Cup in Rome. It's a great opportunity. So I think that, the message that I'm hoping that these teams will take back to their communities, their queer communities, is that this is a competition and a tournament to attend, and that the Bingham tournament with all the different tiers of the cups, and the Amanda Mark Cup being one of those, is like a real opportunity for them to participate in a world class tournament where you get to play some great rugby, meet some wonderful people, and and party in a beautiful city. Don't forget the party part.
Well, it's also, I think, having the broadcast of the Amanda Mark Cup on the Rugby Network is going to be, a big step in that direction, because
Really
it's legitimizing our tournament.
hmm
Because I think maybe before this point it was just this little gathering of people that played gay rugby.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is so much more than that, and has become so much more than that over the years.
It has. It really has become. It's not just a gay rugby tournament. It's truly inclusive of the queer community in all its forms, and I think that that's really important. That we need to have a space where, you know, anyone can play. That's it. But if you wanna play, you can. And there's nothing wrong with getting, down and dirty in the mud and the dirt and the grass, and playing really hard with your teammates. It's just like an incredible, and I'm really hoping that the broadcast is going to generate some interest.
Well, and I think it could actually change the opinion of some people, that maybe are looking to be involved in rugby, don't consider themselves to be part of the LGBTS2 plus community. But it's like, well, I can't join a gay team or a queer
hmm
team. It's like, well, you can.
You can.
Because I mean, one club I was on, we had a straight female coach, a gay assistant coach, a straight captain, and three trans players, and then the rest, gay men. And it was like, I mean, it really embodied what Bingham.
Inclusion.
Yeah, well, exactly. And what Bingham is about. It's
Yeah.
just bringing people together
It is.
for the sport of rugby and for the love of the game,
Yeah.
no matter who you love. I mean, it's one of RGR's catchphrases, but it really does resonate and hit home that it is for the love of the sport.
It is for the love of the sport. And I was talking to some of the teams today, and I was telling stories about Mark Bingham, and yeah,
You've
which we
got
may
some
or may
good
not be able
ones.
to repeat on this broadcast. But anyway, hit me up. I'm happy to tell a story if you're interested. But Mark was one of these people. He was a real connector. He would, you would arrive somewhere. He would be introducing you to everyone. He'd make sure that everyone was part of the gathering and that no one was like being left out.
Yeah.
And then if he only met you, he would then keep in touch with you, and he would follow up and say, "Hey, I'm in Toronto for these 3 days. Do you want to meet up?" And he's only met you once in Chicago, and but
Yeah.
he actually followed up, and that follow up part is the part you often meet people that you connect with, and that you find some you instantly connect with them, and then social media's made it easier to keep in touch with people. But he was really one to he'd send out the schedule. I'm going to be here and here over the summer. Let's catch up. And he would then bring a group of people together, some that he may have only met once, 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And he just would make sure that they would be included and have a good time. And some of the stories, that I hear from the players, and how they're feeling included, and they feel that this is a safe space where they can just play rugby and be themselves. That to me is just what this tournament is all about.
Well, I mean, we spoke yesterday about what Mark would think about Bingham as it is right now. What do you think he would think of the inclusion and the growth of the women's segment of
Mhm.
the tournament, and of the growth of women's rugby in general?
Well, I think that he would be so thrilled with it, because Mark and I are friends for a long time, and he was one of my biggest champions. He was always like, "You do this, you do that," like and I would be doing stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, do that," like, and so like to see women, playing a sport like rugby that historically has not been a sport played by women, is really pushing that boundary. And women can play rugby. Women can play really good rugby.
Yeah.
And I think that he would be thrilled with that. And what I love is like Mark really, like, even if he had to do it one person at a time, he just wanted to change people's minds about, you'd meet him and then you'd find out that he was part of the queer community, and people often were like, oh. And he really just
All
wanted to,
6'5", kind of brick shithouse version of him.
yeah. And they would want to, like, and they'd be like, oh. And so he was like opening their mind to the fact that, here we are, we're part of society, we're part of culture.
Yeah.
And accept it and just and live it and breathe it. And I think that this tournament really does embody that, and you can see it in the players and in the banter on the field and the beers after. Like, it's just really, you can just feel it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Alice was at Amsterdam when
Yeah.
you were announced, or it was announced that we were creating this tournament. What do you think Alice would think about Rome
Wow.
today with the number of women's teams and the explosion of women in rugby, but also the participation in IGR? Because we have a lot of new clubs that are women's only,
Yep.
or women's Ottawa Wolves,
Yep.
heavy women's presence with their women's
Yep.
sides. What would Alice be thinking about all this?
Well, she was always like pushing for being inclusive, and that we needed a women's tournament. And we nearly got up a women's a game in Bingham Cup in Sydney in 2014, but didn't quite happen. So when it actually happened in Amsterdam, Alice was thrilled. So she was really excited. She went round and met all the teams and really encouraged them to participate, and she was thrilled that it was named after me. So she was as shocked as I was at the time. But we grow into these things, and I'm still alive. Sorry, that's a bit inappropriate, but yeah, I'm still alive. Yeah, but like I really think that Alice had this role in the Bingham Cup that was really important, because for a lot of people, that journey to come out to their family and friends is really challenging. And she was accepting and welcoming, and the stories that would get told to her by the players about their journeys, often tragic, and how they found rugby and a community and that spirit of being included, really, she used to melt her heart. Like, she was really proud that in Mark's legacy, created this and really like helped people, because it was a different time. 22 years ago it was 23 years ago it was different to what it is now. And I think that we live in a world now where things have moved on in some respect, but they haven't. And I think that, like, it was hard. It still is hard for a lot of people. I'm not saying it's easy, but things have changed slightly, and I feel that we can see that in the growth of international, inclusive global rugby. I think that it's really important.
Well, and the other thing that I've discovered kind of on a very personal level is just the acceptance that's within the rugby community.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't matter who you are or what you look like or what you think, what you're presenting, as long as you're on the pitch and you're giving your 100%.
Yep.
That's what's important.
It is. It's about contributing to that community of rugby and playing the game, playing hard, playing fair, and playing good rugby to the end.
Yeah.
All the way through. So making sure that you do carry that with you.
Well, I think it even touches on kind of mental health side of things, where it helps people accept who they are.
Yeah.
Whether it is their sexuality, their sexual identity, their physical, being. everyone accepts everyone on the pitch.
Yep.
So people that question, like, am I this? Am I this? Am I this? That kind of goes away when you come here, and I'm being reminded of it again, just with myself, where there are certain hangups that I have. I come to a Bingham, and I'm just at home.
Yep. You're comfortable. You can be yourself. You don't have to be anything that you're not, and you can play a sport that you love.
Yeah.
And I love hearing. Well, I got roped into going to a training session, and now I'm obsessed with rugby. And it took me like 2 training sessions, and now I'm addicted.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it actually doesn't take long. I mean, I did one practice and was instantly hooked.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, so I think I found my new calling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, found your tribe. I love it.
It pretty much, and then 9 years later, it's like, yep, no, I'm still involved. I'm still here.
I'm still alive.
Is there a David Cameron Donaghy Cup? I don't know.
Maybe there's one in the future.
That'll be 2 inches taller than the Amanda Mark
Yeah,
Cup.
maybe that's right. Yeah, that could happen.
Now, to tie things off, let's get a prediction from you. Who do you think is going to take the Amanda Mark Cup?
Oh,
I know that's putting you on the spot.
It is really putting me on the spot, and I'm here for rugby. I'm here for the love of the sport, and I'm here for the Amanda Mark Cup, and I am open. And I would love all the teams to win, but there can only be one winner, and I just think that at this stage it's too early to call.
Oh, nice response.
Yeah,
Well
I
done.
just think they're all, stepping up. I can see they're improving in just the tournament here. Like, it's incredible, the level of commitment, the playing through the pain. Like, it's just I just love it. So thank you to all the players. They're doing an amazing job, and they're really, really showcasing their skills in rugby, and it's impressive. So I think we're going to see the level of the game improve, and I'm really excited to see that. So yeah.
Well, I think we're in for an amazing Amanda Mark Cup final.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Amanda, thank you again for joining.
You are so welcome.
Everyone, thank you for watching. We will be back again tomorrow morning with more recap of today's highlights. And tomorrow we will be talking to the Bingham Cup 2026 bid competitors. So we'll have Brisbane on as well as Buenos Aires. So
Fantastic.
don't miss out on that.
Wonderful.
Until then, with you.